Hi everyone, my name is Irene and I'm here with Anselma. And today we are here to talk once again about what we learned today as our pastor Bishop Ishmael Sam preached a very powerful message on faith and faithfulness. For the past few weeks, we've been on this series and I have learned that my faith will determine how faithful I am in everything I do. Today, we received a very powerful testimony from one lady in church as she shared about how she believed in the word our pastor preached on faith and faithfulness and decided to be faithful in paying her tithe. And as soon as she decided to be faithful in paying her tithe, she received an instant miracle. I want to encourage everyone listening to this that she decided to be faithful in something. Decide to be faithful in church. Decide to be faithful in your service to God. And I can assure you that you also receive your instant miracle from God. I
would like to also elaborate on the point you just made about how your faith will determine how far you go. One thing that Bishop made mention of is that you have to first believe that there's a heaven and hell. As a Christian, it's the basis of our belief. I mean, if you didn't believe that one day if you die, you either go to heaven or hell, you wouldn't even come to church in the first place. It's the reason why we gather every Sunday. And even Jesus, I remember he quoted Hebrews 12 verse 2, that because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame, meaning there was a certain hope that Jesus had. He believed that if this cross, I bear it, there's a heaven that I'll one day go to. That is why it was like his motivation. Let me even say that. That was the one thing that pushed him to go to the cross for us. So I believe that as a Christian, you need to first believe in the everlasting life so that you be faithful. Because you can't come to church without believing in God.
at all.
Unless you're a new believer. Even those people come to believe God eventually. So I believe that the basis of our faithfulness, there should be a hope. There's a certain faith you should have as you are being faithful. If you are not believing God for a baby, you wouldn't buy baby clothes. You wouldn't go and create a room. I mean, there are so many things. If you don't believe that, if I learn, I'll pass this exam, you wouldn't even learn in the first place. So I think the basis of our faithfulness, our commitment to the work we do in the house of God, comes from a certain faith and hope we have inside of us.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, my faith in the promise ahead will make me faithful.
Yes.
And it's not really easy to find faithful people. Proverbs 20 verse 6. A faithful man who can find.
Yes.
And it's something we must all strive to be. Because faithful people are not really common. But everyone likes faithful people. So we must all strive to be very faithful. And this can be found when we have faith in the promise ahead of us. You understand? I mean, faith isn't common.
Yeah.
But one person who had faith was Joseph in the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, we learned that there's a patience we must have.
Yes.
That can easily easily make us more faithful.
Yeah.
When we have patience, we are able to be faithful. We define patience.
Yeah.
And from a definition, we learn that patience is bearing provocation, annoyance, misfortune, delay, hardships, and pain with fortitude and calmness and without complaining. So as soon as I start to complain in the situation I'm in, when I'm complaining about the delay, when I'm complaining about the setback and the pain I am in, it means I'm not being patient. And I'm not having faith, and that's not going to make me faithful. But once I'm able to bear it with calmness, fortitude, and without complaining, I'll always be able to be faithful when things are getting tough in church, when things are getting very difficult in my service to God, and I'm able to remain patient. When things are getting very difficult in my personal life and it's affecting my church work, I should not just give up on church and say, okay, I'm choosing one. But I should be able to be faithful in the church work and my service to God by being patient and trusting God to take me out of the tough times I'm in. You understand what I'm saying?
Joseph was a perfect example because
Very
even
perfect.
in his death, he had faith that, look, carry my bones. Like, who cares? Like, which dead person in their dying bed? Unless you are rich, that you think about, what will happen to your body. But then Joseph really believed. I don't know if we can get to that kind of faith, but I pray and I hope and I'm believing that this word will push us to that level of faith. So, you know that one thing you mentioned is that everyone likes a faithful person.
Yeah.
You know, even God likes faithful people. In fact, he wants to bless us, but he will test your faithfulness.
Yeah.
And he also tests it through our patience. You know, it's not easy to it's not easy to be patient in general, especially in this economy. Like, imagine in this economy, God has promised that you'll be rich. Like, God himself has told you that, oh, I'll make you rich.
You're not seeing it. You're not
seeing,
seeing
like
how?
it just keeps getting worse and worse. There's so many things.
You get the car, you cannot buy the food.
So I think our patience is being tested in so many ways, and God wants to bless us. So once we are able to, how do I say, pass the test of patience, it also reflects in our faithfulness. Like, you're coming to church, you want to be the lead singer. Come to church every day. Sing, like, come for rehearsals, do everything you have to do. One day, you just be holding the mic and you know that, look, this is faithfulness plus patience.
Exactly.
You just had to wait. Some people are not patient at all. By the time you know it, they are forcing, they are rushing. It's true. It's evident in everything you do in the house of God. God is like watching you, and he knows you want it, and he wants to bless you with it. So I think if we exercise patience, we will find our way and finally walk into his time. You know, God, our time and God's time is different. So when he's teaching us patience, he actually wants us to walk in his time. There are certain things that as Christians we want in life, like marriage, like good schools, like good jobs, and God is telling you to wait. Just be patient. Walk in his time. That is if I should define patience, I would just say walk in God's time.
In God's time.
Yeah.
Because Joseph was very patient even while he was in the prison. I mean, you received a dream. You had a dream about how you're going to be shining, you're going to be on the top, and you are in the prison. And he's a perfect example of patience, because even in the prison, he was faithful. He was faithful to God. He didn't decide to backslide and say, okay, God, I've had enough. I just wish I had just left the Potiphar's wife and all of this would not have happened. Or I'm like, as Potiphar's wife, maybe it was attempts. Why didn't I just give in and be angry with God and everything? He didn't do anything of that. And you could see where it took him to. He became like Pharaoh's assistant. So 30 years old. Do you know how difficult it is to reach somewhere very high
at that young age? Wow.
In Ghana, people are retired and they're now going to build houses and things. But because of his faithfulness and his patience, at the age of 30, it was like maybe the president of Ghana or the whole world, his assistant, at 30 years old, just because he was patient and just because he was faithful. Like, I'm really, really encouraged by this message to remain faithful despite the situations I am in and everything I go through. I'm actually really praying, and I want to practice my patience even when I'm provoked.
Don't,
Even when I'm provoked, even when I'm angry, even when I'm hurt, even when I'm in pain. I want to practice my patience and just wait and believe in God's time. And as you're saying,
very good.
It's been another episode of What I Learned Today, and we believe that you've been blessed. And if you've been blessed, we hope to see you next week Sunday at True Sun Chapel International, Royal Nick Hotel, Committee 6. We can't wait to have you and come and enjoy another episode from our Bishop on faith and faithfulness. Bye.
Bye.